Competitive people have a tendency to idolize the people who are ranked above them. When we ourselves rank up, when we get to that rank where we were first idolizing the people who were there, it tends to lead to a lot of mental problems. I see this a lot when people first get to platinum or diamond or masters. And sometimes in that masters plus bracket, people run into their favorite streamers and content creators and sometimes even pro players. So today we're talking about how to mentally adjust to a new rank, especially when it's a rank that you respect a lot. So the reason I'm motivated to make this video is because one of our JS Academy members, Purgence, played against his first challenger player not too long ago. And this created a lot of these similar mental problems where, Purgence, he was masters at the time. He was like 1 or 2 games away from grandmaster for the first time. So he's like really close to being in the top 1,000 players in his region, and he was super amped up, and he's playing against a challenger player, one of the top 300 players, and you could just imagine kind of the mental, the stress and the anxiety going on through this game. So while we have this conversation, I'm going to allow this video to play in the background here. So the first thing I want to talk about when you're going into a rank that you're not that you respect a lot, maybe it's a challenger player, maybe it's your diamond teammates, is that it's normal for everybody. Like, those players are human, and those humans have experienced the same thing you're experiencing. However, they're just at a different stage in their journey, right? So if you're playing against your first challenger player, well, that challenger player also had their first time playing against a challenger player, or their first time playing against a pro player. And it was also very scary for them, and they felt like they had a lot to prove. They feel like they had a lot of stress, that they feel like they had a lot of pressure. However, they're not at this stage right now, right? When you're stuck at a rank for a while, or you've been at the same rank for a while, you tend to kind of be like, I'm here, it is what it is. The people below me are bad, the people above me are great. It is what it is. However, he has been where you're at. It's the same game, and you guys have had the same experiences. So it is normal. And going into like these feelings of imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm playing against these challenger players, or maybe you just hit diamond for the first time, and you're like, oh, I don't belong in these diamond games. And it's like, again, that is something that every single league player in a high rank has experienced at some point, thinking, oh, I don't actually belong in this game, or, I'm a lot luckier than other people in my rank, or I play easier champions than people in my rank, or I play meta better than people in my rank. So, I don't actually have the skill to back up what I'm planning on doing. And it's like, once again, those are normal thoughts. Now, the longer you get in a rank and the faster you can kind of deal with these mental problems, a little bit of an ego builds up, and that's what's necessary. You need to kind of come into these games with some sort of ego. Of course, not a lot. You don't want to be out of hand, but a little bit of ego is necessary for a competitive player to truly excel at a high rank. So you can see already at level 1 in this game with Purgence, he's kind of forcing these awkward trades, and he's kind of trying to fake it until he makes it, because he's like, I don't belong in this game. He's going to try to fake it, and that's a good start. You're trying to kind of just play these games. You got to play these games, and you really got to try to step up, be egotistical about it, be confident about it. Of course, not so much ego that you're delusional. You still have to have some sense about you. There's this kind of good balance of ego plus humility that's important here. But you can't be too passive. That's the number one mistake I see when somebody gets into a new rank. They're incredibly passive, and they listen to their teammates too much, right? You get into diamond for the first time, you're like, I finally have diamond teammates. They're finally good. I finally have good teammates. And it's like, no, you can't be further from wrong than that. You're still playing with people that are relatively the same skill as you. So your teammates don't actually change as you get better. They change, but relative to you, which is the important thing, they're the same. The only thing that changes maybe is the mistakes are easier to punish. So you notice the mistakes even more, but you don't notice the goodness better, right? You don't actually feel like you have better teammates, because relative to you, you don't. They're the same that they've always been. Just everybody is playing at a higher quality, including yourself. So the number one mistake is being too passive. So get some ego and make sure that we're stepping up and we're being active. The opposite mistake also happens, where people play with too much ego and they're trying to go too much in. And with this kind of Purgence gank, we saw this where, he went too aggressive at level 2. He's playing too hype, and now he's screwed. He's kind of put out of this lane for a while. So if you find yourself like the pressure is building up and you can't take it, so you just go, 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 go. I had this saying called keep the tension. keep the tension. What I mean by that is there's this tension that gets built up when you're kind of in a good lane phase or you're in a good game. There's this like pressure that you can feel mounting and mounting, and learning how to sit in that is the key to kind of not just breaking under the pressure and all inning. Sitting in the pressure, keeping the tension. I find it similar to like if you go for a run and you really get into your stride and you're going for a good jog, it shouldn't feel straining, but it also isn't like just easy. Like there's a little bit of pressure there. It's the same pressure you want to feel in a good lane phase, in a good game of League. Or if you play basketball and kind of you're taking shots, you want to wait for as long as possible, but it's not like you're being slow. It's the same thing in a lane phase. There's this pressure that's in between like being overly aggressive, but you're not being passive, right? You're being patient, not passive. You're being aggressive, not delusional. There's this tension that you have to hold, and there's this feeling that you develop. Being able to sit in that feeling with the better player is what it takes. Now, the difference between a master player or a grandmaster player and a challenger player is the challenger player can sit in that pressure for longer. So the way that you become a challenger player is you sit in that pressure with them. You get in the lane with them and you say, I'm going to sit in the fire with you until either one of us breaks, and I'm going to sit in here for as long as I can. And that's how you grow yourself. So when you play in these new games and these new ranks with these new players, it's really important, especially if you're the kind of person that tends to overplay, to find that feeling of pressure, but not like over pressure, and just sit in it and sit in that feeling of aggression, that feeling of scary, but nothing's actually like shit's not going crazy. Yeah. So those are the two most common mistakes I see when people kind of get into these new ranks. And, I hope I touched on some like light level kind of the imposter syndrome stuff you feel is very normal. Everything you feel is normal. And the players you're playing against are human, and they had to go through the same stuff you had to go through. So I hope this quick little video helps you guys. Anybody who's going through kind of like they're getting to a new rank and they're feeling a little bit scared or a little bit imposter syndrome, or they're just making mistakes because they're playing in a new rank. These kind of mentality tricks and these things to kind of keep in mind hopefully should help. Anyways, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. You'll have a good one. Peace.